Out. All right, so today I'll give you a title slide on the PowerPoint, but the title is Lesson 2, Body and Soul. We've done a lot with Lesson 1, and what we've done in Lesson 1 was identify the human soul, describe it, identify its powers and abilities, and then we went to the chapel one day and we had some hopefully moving experiences to get us in touch with certain transcendentals of which we're capable of. And then we had scientific evidence of the human soul. We tackled the human soul from different angles. Now we got to talk about how it relates to your body. Moving on to bell ringer number 2, Matthew 6:22. What is Jesus talking about? Now, it's a pretty general question, actually. Like, what message is he sending? You could have taken in different directions. A couple of these are real good. Like this first one, your eyes/soul determines the goodness of your body. Jesus is saying how if only one part of you is not pure, your whole body as a whole is not pure. Let me to lay a foundation for today's lesson on how the body relates to the soul. Jesus is basically saying what you do with your eye, which is obviously a key part of your body, what you do with your body is going to impact your soul. What you look at. And while we all just want to chill out and kind of veg out on any evening of the week and just watch mindless television, the truth is what you're watching there is going to be what you become. It's going to be what you think about. It's going to be what you enjoy. You have to choose those programs carefully. That's just the truth of the matter. If you hang around people that curse a lot, you know yourself you're going to curse a lot. What you do, what enters in through your body, is going to impact your soul. Okay. Today's lesson is going to highlight how linked we are with our bodies. Last class, we were watching the soul leave the body and what that soul looks like or experiences outside the body. But we're kind of coming back down to earth, and in today we're going to see how it relates to the body and its relationship today. So Jesus says, just know that what you do with your body is important and valuable. Here's another passage from St. Paul talking about how we are not our own. We belong to God. So nobody in the world ever decided to be born except Jesus. Nobody in the world ever picked their family or picked the date, their birthday. We don't pick these things. God orchestrated our life. Super important nowadays because it used to be said that when somebody was experiencing depression, we'll say a teenager, and saying like, "Gosh, I don't enjoy my life and whatnot," and they go through those struggles. A typical response is, "Well, you're here for a reason, right? God has a plan for you," and this is the words we use to encourage people to find meaning and purpose in their life. But more and more nowadays, I was reading a Catholic psychologist article, more and more we're being told that we're just fancy monkeys and that there really is no spiritual purpose or fulfillment in our life. And so more and more people are just, because we're not convinced as a culture anymore that we were made for a purpose. We were made intentionally by a creator. We were made for love. All these things, you know. Um, and so that leaves us like sad and depressed. And so when St. Paul says you are not your own, we need to go back to that, really, that our life is defined and created by God, and that leaves us with meaning and purpose. And so we glorify God in our bodies, the body he gave us. We all have different bodies. All of our bodies have different strengths, different skin tones, different, you name it, different heights, different weights, all these things. But to grow in appreciation, of course, for our body is something that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to hide the answers. I'm going to go to the next question, and we'll cover it in a second. Oh. Lesson 2, body and soul relationship. There's 3 slides of notes today and about 4 videos. So, I mean, this lesson, I really get down to the bare bones. Once again, this is our friend Aristotle. He is, right next to Jesus, the man of the chapter, because this chapter is so philosophical. Aristotle was the one last chapter who came up with vegetative, animal, and rational. Last lesson. Vegetative, animal, and rational souls. Today we're going to look to Aristotle as he, being a scientist and a philosopher, he tells us the relationship between our bodies and our souls. And he coined this phrase back in ancient Greece. The soul is the form of the body, which makes the matter the body. So I'm going to talk about form and matter after y'all write down these 2 sentences. Aristotle says that everything that's living is moving in an orderly form. It's moving in a certain direction. It's of course, in this case, we're referencing the soul as the form. It's the spiritual impetus and the principle. The invisible form, which is the soul, always expresses itself through something material. Aristotle has no knowledge of angels, but we might even say today angels are pure form, pure spirit. Nevertheless, on this earth, everything alive has the form, the interior soul, which is guiding it, keeping it alive, source of life, and it has the matter, the body. And so the body is what's called the matter. I always remember it, and because you're gonna need to know this for the test. That the matter is material. You see, the word material, is linked to the word matter. And so, what is the material of the human person? That's the body, and the other one would be the form, and that would be the soul. Aristotle says these 2 realities are intertwined. The soul expresses itself through the body because every form expresses itself through matter. And that they need to work, of course, cohesively in unity because that's how they were created. I'm saying some really obvious stuff today. Stay with me. It won't be boring the whole day. I mean, it's basic, but we need to appreciate the simple fact soul and body are supposed to dwell in unity. This is the based academically in Aristotle's phrase. The soul is the form of the body. Okay, ignore the step 2 part. I got to take that out. But the next thing, to bring in a little bit of theology into it, is that God created us this way. And so we need to learn as human beings to embrace our bodily reality. As I read from Gaudium et Spes, which is an official church document from Vatican II. Well, the first part is my words, actually. Our body reflects the fact that we are made in God's image and likeness, and is the only means we have to encounter other people in the world. Therefore, man may not despise his bodily life, rather he is obliged to regard his body as good, hold it in honor, since God has created it and will raise it up on the last day. The Christian, knowing that we are created by God, put in this body, the Christian has to say there is a goodness to my body. I have to embrace my body because this is the reflection of me. It's literally the first appearance you give to anybody, largely, unless you meet them over the phone or the internet, I guess. But it's what allows us to be in real, authentic relationships and to know people. You know, especially us guys. Like you meet somebody new, Like, so much is based on that handshake, you know? Is it going to be the soft, like, wimpy one, and you're just like, oh no. Like, what is that? But the person's body is showing that. Or like the hard one where it's like, dude, relax, okay? I'll fight you later, you know? Yeah, like a simple handshake, and we already have an impression of somebody. Why? The body has already conveyed to us something of this person's soul, whether they're in one extreme or another, or in between. How a person dresses, of course, is a reflection of how they treat their body, how they view their body, and how they want other people to view their body. Okay, still pretty obvious stuff, right? I'm gonna show this video, and you're gonna see how we often don't, how common it is that we don't embrace our body.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having me. All right, let's do this.
Scene 0, take 1. Mark?
So we've got one question that we want to ask you today.
Okay, well, what's that question?
The question is, if you could change one thing about your body, what would it be?
Only one. I would change my forehead. I have a really big forehead.
I'd like to be taller.
The puffiness of my face, my ears, my big ears.
Stretch marks after having a baby.
A lot of times, like, kids would make fun of me, like, hey man, I get big ears, I got Dumbo over there, you know?
Definitely my skin, because I've dealt with acne and eczema issues ever since I was a little kid. 我小时候，因为大家比较喜欢大眼睛的那种美女，所以我就也希望自己眼睛能大一些。
Growing up, like, a lot of people call me like five head, or like, your forehead's so big. They always like would say something to me about it.
Yo diría porque muchos dos caminan derecho y como que mi pie está un poco chueco. When I was younger, I felt like I wasn't quite adequate enough.
Can you sit on the chair?
No.
Alright, I'm gonna ask you one question.
What's the question?
If you could change one thing about your body, what would you change?
Have a mermaid tail.
Probably like a shark mouth, so I could eat a lot of stuff.
I could have teleportation in my body. Extra 20 years. I want legs like a cheetah so I can run faster like a cheetah. I could have wings so I could fly.
I don't think there's anything to change.
I like my body actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't change anything?
Nothing else. Just a mermaid tail.
A lot of people obsess about getting older and about the wrinkles. I love my white hair. I loved it when it started turning white. It's one of those things, because I chose to stay this way, because it just wouldn't be me if I totally changed the way I look.
All right. So let's see. Yeah. Now you might answer the question differently, huh? My height. My hands. I don't care to change anything. Yeah, give it up for that person. Last class had 2 submissions out of, I don't know, 20 so. Two people that said I wouldn't change anything. Wish I was like 6'4", so I'd be a stud at basketball and like could reach stuff on the top shelf. Then I wish I had Shaquan Barkley's legs, so I'd run really fast. Be an absolute unit. My nose, height on my face, nose, flat stomach, teeth. Change my nose. Okay, we got a lot of noses in here. Listen, you're talking to an Italian. I got like a beak, you know? That's pretty real. Tummy fat. I wish I was taller. I wish I was a baller. Shot caller. Shorter. Okay. You two, if you run really fast at each other, it might work. Just give it a shot. I saw it on a movie once. My appearance. That's pretty big. Nose. A lot of nose. Dropped a few pounds. All. I want to give you a hug. Whoever you are. My height, my nose. Okay, y'all. Nobody got an ugly nose in Mr. Peo. Ain't nobody. I actually had nose surgery. Did you?
I didn't put my nose down.
Do you have a surgery on your nose? To what? Balance out your nostrils?
No, they like because of the surgery.
Oh, okay. Do you know what the surgery was for?
So first they took out my adenoids and then they like shaved a bunch of stuff up in here. Because I can't breathe.
Yeah. I had a deviated septum, part of basically the inner cartilage of the. It's a very common problem. My whole family has it. My nose on the inside was bent, blocking one of my nostrils. Doc went in, cut it. This was all during this past year's quarantine, and there's still some sensitivity to my nose, but I can breathe a little bit deeper, through my nose. I always struggle breathing through my nose. Regardless, I still have this beak of a nose. My dad's like twice the size of me. We Italians, we grow noses and eyebrows like nobody's business. Regardless, if you asked me this question, I wouldn't say my nose. I wouldn't say my eyebrows. I would say I wish my scoliosis was gone. Right now, I was diagnosed with scoliosis about 2-3 years ago as a result of a car accident in high school, I believe. I got into one minor one, and it left my neck stiff for a couple days because of the whiplash. Somebody rear-ended me, slipped on ice. Common problem. And then I got into another one where the airbag, I was driving. It was my fault this time, freshman in college. And the airbag went off, and I got jolted kind of back and forth. I don't know if that was it, but my doctor says somewhere along the line, my neck straightened out. If y'all didn't know, your neck is supposed to, if I'm facing this way, my neck is supposed to be curved, and then there's your spine. My neck, he believes, because of a car accident, straightened out. And so it puts too much pressure on my spine. So now my spine is bending under all the pressure I've given it, and that tears in my muscles. And I live with that now. I've gotten adjusted. He's made it better, but I'm at the point now of being treated for over 2 years now, and I think I'm just going to live with pain the rest of my life. I'm old, but that happened in high school. No, I'm old. No, gray hair, y'all. I got grays. Look closely. It's gray. Yeah, son. It saves a lot of money and time. I did it. I'm good. How what? 15. It's not the worst. I had a student at 50. I'm 15. You have 3 curves? So you're having surgery in March? Yeah, that's hard. See, Ruthie's got the worst amount, but you didn't even put that. You probably worried about what would you put? Yeah. Well, there's a 50% chance that she put nose. Hey, who knows? Hey, so real. All right. Needless to say, I would also number 2 on my list is I would change my vision. You know, I only see 2040. I'll never see 2020 again. Cool. Thanks. Um, it's like superhuman sight. Yeah, I know. Thank you. That being said, you see in that video the reality that kids are happy with their body, and one person in this classroom, maybe 2, I don't know if I'm at that person's level or not, but one other person in this classroom says, I wouldn't change anything about my body. It's my body. It's who I am. And that old woman says, my hair is old and gray, but I don't want to dye. There ain't nothing wrong with dyeing your hair at any age. But this woman's like, I just want to be me. I just want to have my body be the way my body is. And if I'm graying at 30 years old, 33 years old now, I started graying at 30. I think when you have a kid, the kid comes with gray hair. I think it's just how it goes. But my point is this: what happens to those kids? So that fast forward 20 years, they're going to be interviewed again, well, like theoretically, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's my ears, it's my nose." What happens? Why is it? Why does it change? Society, go more. Okay, there's bullying. There's people telling you, "Ha ha, look at you." You're more concerned about what other people think. Social media makes this 10 times worse because it's everywhere all day. You can't escape from it unless you turn off your phone. You know, the constant comparing, Look at that, and y'all know the filters can make you look mighty fake. You know, and that's exactly the point. You're using your image to make the whether it's mighty fine or mighty fake. It's probably both. Either way, it's not. You know, that when you scroll and you spend hours every day scrolling, you're looking at one fake post. I'm not saying all posts are fake. No. But what I'm saying is like so much, of course, is dressed up. You know. Oh. Y'all find Ryan on Facebook. Okay. So we get bullied. I remember being in art class. I was leaning over doing our project, and we had one kid at our school. He was a good baseball player, strong pitcher. He was Greek. Talk about a unibrow. I mean, the thing went straight across. But I never made fun. I never joined the crowd making fun of him. But some kid like just paid attention to me in art class, and he said, "Dude, you got like a third eyebrow." Like, there's like a little, yeah, they're real, and sometimes they stick out. And my wife's like, "Can I pluck it? Can I pluck it?" And sometimes I'll let her. Just like the ones that stick straight out. But I got this little patch of fuzz right above my nose. She goes, "Dude, you're tribrow." I got 3 eyebrows, and the one's just hanging out above my nose. Anyways, I just kind of laughed it off. Thankfully, it didn't follow me around campus. But people say these things. You come up short, you get picked in PE behind somebody else because they're taller. And we get insecure. And we realize that maybe we can't be a professional athlete, maybe we can't be a model, maybe we can't be an actress. Why? Because your nose is too big. And then we identify with that. We pay thousands of dollars for plastic surgery, and we live in a world, in a culture now that, we largely are not comfortable in our own skin. I'll never forget doing Christmas shopping at Academy. I might have told you the story already this year. Christmas shopping in Academy last year, and a commercial on the radio in Academy was get a gift card for plastic surgery to your loved one this Christmas. No freaking joke. They were saying, like, if you don't know what to get them, tell them they can get plastic surgery. Like, what a great way to love somebody, right? Here, go get a nose job. I mean, you got to be kidding me. All right. What this is a real question I want y'all to answer and we'll discuss. What are things we do? I just mentioned plastic surgery. Not all plastic surgery is wrong or sinful. Sometimes it's life-saving and a great way to try to maintain natural or restore natural beauty to the body. Of course, somebody gets a serious burn. I think it's somewhat plastic surgery to get them new skin on their face or elsewhere. So not all plastic surgery is wrong, but I want you to be able to identify where we go in our culture when we go too far to the point of not appreciating our body for what it is. Name some things we do. I'm not comfortable with my skin. I'm not comfortable with my body, and so I'm going to go to this extreme.
Liposuction.
Eating disorders. Yeah, to the point where they might even fake eat around people just to go to the bathroom and throw it back up because they don't want to process it. They don't want their body to digest it. They don't want those calories. That's a real thing. I knew two friends, two girls in high school that I knew did this and suffered from that anorexia, bulimia. One of them was hospitalized for it. It was real bad, real bad. And that runs right up to a mental illness if you are experiencing that. Like a person that experiences that anorexia or bulimia, it often takes them a lot of counseling for them to get back in touch with their body, to embrace their body. Everything this lesson's about. And what else? That's obviously a good one. I mean, a common one. I think like 10 to 20% of eating disorders are by guys. So we're obviously in the minority. Not something we struggle with as much, but it's still real. I knew one guy that suffered from anorexia. Skinny basketball player, played D3 hoops, good athlete, but just would not allow himself to enjoy food. Yeah. Grant's got something. What? Steroids. There's also self harm. I'm just going to go down my list. There's self harm, of course. Often this is common in high school, college age kids. Okay, we're not going to joke about self harm. Thanks. We're talking about like cutting ourselves. That's, to my knowledge, the most common way to harm your own body. And that, I could be wrong. I'm not a psychologist, but that comes out of such a disdain or a hatred for one's own life that our soul projects that onto our body, and so we hurt our body because we don't appreciate our body, we don't appreciate our life, and somehow exercising pain or administering pain to ourselves is the very, of course, sick way of dealing with of course a bad self-image. So self-harm there. Grant brought up steroids. Yeah. I started watching a documentary last night on Netflix about steroids. It mostly focuses on how at the last Olympics in Rio, the entire country of Russia was banned because 98% of their athletes were convicted of doping. But we all know it's not just Russia; it's all over the USA. This documentary I watched also, of course, focuses on Lance Armstrong. Um, and the sad thing for me about steroids, and like as a baseball player and fan, I think of Barry Bonds, of course, Mark McGwire, these home run kings. Barry Bonds was, on his way to being a Hall of Famer. Like his career was on the back end of the hill, but he was a great, all around player. He pumped steroids to try to basically get the home run record. It works. Now we don't know how long, but he's not going to be voted into the Hall of Fame in the near future. Like these people are already world-class athletes, largely. Maybe not the high school football players that do steroids. But most of them are world-class athletes with great futures, and then they add on. It's not enough for them, so they do damage to their body through steroids so that they can perform at a higher level. See, for me, that's super sad because they don't realize what they already have, and they're willing to risk a long life, there. So steroids, of course, are a way to not accept our bodies for the way they are. Very different than an eating disorder, but these are not the symptom. The illness is the same. A lack of appreciation for your body. We talked about contraception already, but what hormonal contraception? Well, you're telling often now there's a male birth control coming out, but since the female birth control pill is so much more common, isn't that a way of us saying we don't like how fertile the woman's body is once a month, and so we are going to pump dangerous, harmful hormones into her body so that we can erase that part of her body? Even though it's not visible, there's still that idea of not embracing the body. And of course, we already talked about this and how natural family planning is a better embrace of the body. Anything else? Gender theory / transgender surgery. To bring up a sensitive, hard, controversial topic. Students in every class ask me every year to address this. Mr. Peo, is it a sin to get a surgery which will change your appearance from male to female or female to male? Whatever the case may be. Is that wrong? Is that a sin? And it's complicated and it's messy. This idea that first you have to understand this modern trend, which is gender theory. This theory denies the difference in reciprocity, the complementarity in nature of a man and woman. Basically, like the complementarity, the support of man and woman in our bodies and the unity therein is overrated. It's not important. It envisages a society without sexual differences, thereby eliminating the natural basis for the family. So that the idea of the gender theory, of course, is that despite your biological makeup, your gender is entirely separate. Your gender can express itself in its own unique way, however you so choose or want. And if that means changing your body very fundamentally to align with your gender, then so be it. But it's kind of like this primacy of my experience of who I am, which you're all familiar with, of course. Bruce / Caitlyn Jenner made this a big thing years and years ago, maybe 8 to 10 years ago. By now, I could be wrong on that. So, and now it's everywhere. I mean, it's commonly it's supported. President Biden has recently appointed a transgender woman to be the assistant in the health department of the United States, and there's more and more that are being elected to local, state, and federal positions. So it's become very commonplace, and there's still differences of opinion. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, perhaps even on both ends of the spectrum. So it's hard. That being said, I want to address that issue ever so briefly, as controversial as it is, in light of this: who is the human person, body and soul, and do we want to find a unity there? Is that a goal, or is our body just in the way of who we are? Got a couple videos here. I want to introduce you to